Well, so here we are on board the Carnival Splendor on a 23-night Transpacific cruise. And this is the status thus far.
Awesome.
But because we're rebels, because it's a port day, and we're in a lounge with nobody else and they're using HEPA filters, we're just going to take it off. There is nobody around, trust me. So let's give you an update of what is happening. So far, we've uploaded for you all the menus on board. We have also uploaded the entire activity schedule. And if you have an eye for detail, you would have noticed that there's still some Alaskan things in the itinerary a little later on. They are updating things, so you're not missing out on too much. But if you picked it up, clever you. If you're finding our content helpful to you, please consider giving us a like and subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified of more of our videos. We do a lot of cruising, not just on Carnival, but on all sorts of ships around the world, on charters, on regular cruises, on small ships. So you might enjoy seeing a few other types of cruises. But for now, it's Carnival Splendor. So let's give you a rundown of what has happened so far. Embarkation. Don't think it was Carnival's fault, but it did take an extra long amount of time, probably the longest that we've ever taken to embark a ship.
2.5 hours from bag drop till the time we finally got on the ship.
Yeah. So I think that it was actually because this was a different type of cruise. There was a few more layers or a few hurdles that people had to jump through. If you saw my previous video, they sent us an email just over 2 weeks before the cruise saying that you were required to have mandatory travel insurance, and the Carnival voyage protection didn't apply to Australians, so they had to go and purchase separate travel insurance. So I think that is what held up a lot of the check-in process. There was another ship in port as well, so there was a bit of confusion with people which ship they were going to, despite them clearly being marked. But the process was, you dropped your bags off. That in itself, like, it just seemed very congested. Then you queued up for quite some time to show your Verifly app. Then you went up the escalators through security. Then you waited in the queue to check in. And it was actually at check-in that they were looking at your travel insurance. Then typically what was happening is people didn't realize they needed travel insurance. So then they were sitting at the desks there trying to purchase some, or trying to purchase the Carnival voyage protection. So things were just taking a long time, as well as the visas for each of the countries. That was another thing that they required to check, and people were kind of getting caught out by the time they got to check in. So I guess, what we say won't change things, but if they actually checked that downstairs where they were checking the Verifly app, it probably would have made the rest of the process a lot faster.
So what we hear is that the previous cruise that came in, they had 4 guests that they couldn't find. So 4 guests hadn't disembarked, and that's what took us a long time to actually get onto the ship. That's what we hear. So whether that's true or not, that could be the case.
Yeah, so we had quite an early embarkation time, but from all accounts, they said they weren't actually checking embarkation time. They were just letting people go through. So rather than having the segmented embarkation times, they're just letting anyone through. And because embarkation started late, then it was just queues for miles. So it was a mess, but hey,
we got on eventually.
Also, I was able to board with our credit card insurance. So I was concerned that we would have to purchase full travel insurance, which was going to cost us the entire cost of what we paid for this cruise. But I was able to get a letter of eligibility for insurance from my credit card company, because that has complimentary travel insurance, and that was sufficient. It had COVID cover, it had emergency medical cover, which is what they actually wanted, and all was sweet. So we didn't have to buy additional travel insurance. There wasn't an additional cost to our cruise. So that made us happy.
Absolutely, we're here.
everybody on board in general seems to be having a really good time. It is majority US passengers. We've got a breakdown of the passengers here. Probably about 75%-ish is US, and then the rest is generally Australian. I thought there would be more Australians on it because Australians love to travel and everyone's just hanging to get out of the country. But it feels on board that it is largely a bucket list trip for a lot of US passengers. Also, being the length of cruise, there's not a lot of kids on board. There's about 75 people under the age of 21, which for a ship that has about 2,500 people on board, that's a really small minority. So it kind of feels like it's an adult-only cruise. We really haven't seen many young kids, maybe 4 or 5 young kids, and then probably a large majority being kind of 15 to 21. But we figured as much. We figured there'd be less kids, but didn't realize there'd be so few. So that's kind of nice for us because we don't have kids and we traditionally try and vacation on trips or resorts that don't have kids either. On that, there are a lot of gamblers on board, a lot of gamblers. We used to work for Carnival in the casino. I used to host, and I don't know how the host is doing it. Every single machine is full whenever the casino is open. It's crazy, and I think it may have something to do with the free drink offering for the Players Club members. So when we got to our room, we had a gift on our door, and it was from Players Club and cards saying that we were getting free drinks for the entire cruise whilst we were playing in the casino. So what I'm kind of seeing in the casino is people sitting at machines, drinking and pressing a button every 5 minutes or so. So I think people are taking advantage of that, and good on you, but it just means the casino is just completely full all the time.
Hard to get on a table as well. So yeah, the slots are always full, but the craps table is always chock-a-block every time I've been in there to try and play.
Which traditionally on an Australian cruise, the craps table is pretty empty because not many people know how to play craps, but 75% US passengers sailing from the US, craps table's full. I think, well, hearsay, I can tell you the rumours, one of the sort of, I guess, massive gamblers that's on board, he was saying that they hadn't completely sold out the cruise, so they turned it over to Players Club and gave them a really good deal to get on board. And that's why there's so many gamblers, because I have never seen so many in my life, even as a host, when we were doing 4 and 5 night Caribbean itineraries plus 7 days. I never saw it that busy. Like, it's crazy.
Now, the other thing about the casino is that it allows smoking. So in Australia, we don't have smoking in the casinos, but on this ship, every night we get back to our cabin after playing, my hair smells of smoke, your hair smells of smoke. It's just something that we've got to get used to. But I believe that when the ship does sail out of Australia, that it will go to a smoke-free casino. So that's how it normally runs with ships going out of Australia. So hopefully that is the case, that if you are on the Splendor from Australia from October onwards, that there is no smoking in the casino. If you're a non-smoker, that is, though.
I've noticed a lot of smokers on this cruise. And in fact, the most popular smoking area is aft on deck 10. A lot of people, that's the hangout for the smokers. The only problem is, depending on how the wind's blowing, it does blow down into the Serenity deck, so the adults only area at the back of the ship. So you can get a lot of wafts of smoke, but it's not all the time, so you just deal with it.
So we've been really surprised by the quality of food on board. So we were last on this ship 2009. We were on this ship, and back then it was quite good. And even today, still just as good as we remember it being. So plenty to choose from. We've got the Tiger Masala at the back, the sandwich bar, the deli, what else? The pizza, Guy's Burger Joint. So they're all great restaurants. And we really enjoyed that Fahrenheit 555, the steak restaurant. So highly recommend that.
A tip for you with that, we had pre-purchased our Fahrenheit 555 reservations And they then came out with a deal that if you dined on Elegant Night or Formal Night, they would give you a free bottle of wine. So we actually moved our reservation once we're on board to the Elegant Night, and we were still eligible for the free bottle of wine. It was a lovely cab sav, thoroughly enjoyed it, and so that's a good deal. Hopefully they're offering that for you as well. The main dining, it's been a different menu the entire time. I thought maybe they would just rotate a weekly menu through, but having a look and the video that we have posted that has all of the menus, it's different every night. There are going to be some changes. We've been told that they are going to Australianize the menu a little bit after Fiji, so we will let you know what those changes are. We've also spoken to the Food and Bev team. They're going to try and get us the new pricing for Australia. But in the interim, just have a look at the menus that we've uploaded and use a currency converter. It'll be like roughly in the ballpark. But yeah, the food's been great on board. So for breakfast, we've been rotating through restaurants from main dining, which has a sea day brunch menu, and then it also has a breakfast menu for port days. We've been eating at the Lido buffet, which I've been getting omelettes, but yeah, we've been rotating through that. And then there's some days that we will just have a protein shake. Sometimes we'll go to the gym and just have a protein shake, and then it's too close to lunch for us to have breakfast. So there is more than enough variety for you on board. If you're wondering who's on board as maitre d', we can only tell you who's on board for this sailing because obviously contracts start and finish at different times. But Desi is on board. Isabella is a maitre d' for anytime dining and also for the buffet. Shane is there for main dining and aft. And who else? Senad.
The assistant.
And
there's another assistant maitre d' as well.
Yeah. So some of those names might ring a bell.
We hear that Desi will be moving to Luminosa from November. So if you know Desi, as some people have asked us about her, she'll be on Luminosa later in the year.
And we'll be on Luminosa on the 1st of December. Somebody told us that was a great deal happening, and we just booked it sitting out the back the other day. So straight away, and then the price went up 10 minutes later. So we got a great deal for Luminosa. We can't wait to get on her and let you guys know what's going on. So head over to part 2 of this video. We did have to split it in two. There's just a few issues in trying to upload such a long video. We hope you enjoy it. So just click here.